Welcome to my second process video for using the Dreamin Big Workshops Your Way scrapbooking kit, and I'm also going to be incorporating the Dreamin Big scrapbooking stamp set with this page. So the first challenge I come up with is choosing the background paper that makes my photos stand out and playing with a few ideas and concepts. Now, I do a few single photo layouts, and part of the reason is because I try to capture the story in the one photograph rather than having to have a whole lot of photographs like I would if it was an event or something along those lines. Sometimes, or quite often for me, I try and choose the one photo that tells the story the most, and then my journaling will back that up. So in this photo I've got 3 of my children and one of their friends on the beach that we enjoy going to as a family, which is Dreamin Beach. And so my message to these guys is about exploring and getting out there and giving things a go. So they've just been out attempting to bodyboard out on Dreamin Beach, and mostly unsuccessful, but they're out there giving it a go, exploring and trying out new things. And in this photo they're actually on their way back into the beach house because being a Dunedin beach, it's rather cold, and so they need to head back to warm up. And so I'm using quite a few of the complements on this layout, so I'm cutting out the different shapes from the stickers and working out where they'll fit on the page so that I can actually use these later on. So I can actually stick them later when I've decided what I actually want to do. And playing with tucking under ideas, there's a few of the pocket cards that I've tried to put onto this page that didn't quite work, but you'll see some of the solutions and things that I come up with later on. So taking time to sit back and just look at the page before you do any cutting is often a good idea. It gives you just time to enjoy. And so what I'm doing here is just trimming off 1/16 of an inch on each of the photographs so that I can mat this with my pre-cut 6x4 white cardstock pieces that I showed in a previous video, and so I was able to use those for this entire page. So what I've decided to do here is I'm going to trim down the double-sided paper to fit most of my picture and embellishments, and I'm going to nest that on the back of a piece of white cardstock. Playing with this idea, it just helped it to stand out, just gives it a frame and ties it all together somehow, and you'll see later on some of the ways that I merge this paper so it's not just a square on a square. So here is my photo mounted on, matted with the white cardstock, and relaying what this looks like again with the white paper in the background. So playing with photos, playing with stickers, and having a look at what other possibilities I can bring into it. Sometimes less is more. So I'm removing, taking out some of these stickers and things to access some of the other bits and pieces. I'm not sure if anyone else's workspace gets as messy as mine, but I'm not very good at cleaning up as I go. So having a look at the scrapbooking stamps and the flowers that I've already chosen to embellish this page, I decided to actually use the stamp that's in this set, the flower stamp, and I'm going to just stamp on my piece of double-sided paper, just using the archival black ink. And so using it just the one time leaves nice juicy black impressions, but as you can see there I started to do some extra ones, so it just adds a bit of tone, a bit of texture by changing not just always fresh inking. So this is 2nd and 3rd generational stamping. And so having a go with one of the other little flower shapes as well, tying that in to add a little bit of added interest. And again, not just stamping this the one time, but stamping it a couple of times. So while these flower stamps don't go all the way around the page, they could have, I just wanted to highlight that corner where I was going to add the sticker embellishments to my finished layout as time goes on. So you can see that the flowers sort of create a top left border for my photo, and the other flowers on the top just add extra interest to this. Time to do some sticking. So I'm using the Tombow tape runner. It seems to go on nice and smooth, and it's colourless. So you can also use this tape runner with vellum or some more see-through type products. So adding on the Explore title. Because it's quite long, it does take a bit of careful positioning and manoeuvring, and there are some little bits that I had to take out of the L and the P. And then just putting on the stickers that I had shown you earlier. So again, I'm just using that same tape runner to adhere the paper square into the middle of the page, positioning that using the numbers on my Versamat, making sure that's lined up so I can sort of visually look across and work out that it's going in at sort of that 10.5 inch mark. And to connect the pattern paper with the outside page, I'm putting some of my stickers so that they overlap, so that they're not just stuck where they're not just on the paper, and so that creates a connection between the layout and a connection between the white frame, the white paper, the pattern paper, and the photograph. So not just sticking those embellishments inside that square and leaving a very neat white border, it just creates that flow or that connection between them. And so I've also decided to use the another stamp from the scrapbooking set. There is a gorgeous stamp that goes with this. It says hello with lots of floral on it, and I think it's meant to say hello life or hello spring, whereas I chose to do this saying explore life, which is what I wanted these 4 young people to be doing as they get out and about. Because my paper overlaps the cardstock, I had to think carefully about this, because otherwise the inking impression might not flow very well between the two because they're different levels. So I had to carefully position this so that that wasn't going to be a problem. It's what happens when you have afterthoughts. And so there we've got it there, just tied nicely across the bottom. I'm just turning my mat back over because our mats have a nice foam side on the back. They're really good to use for doing inking or stamping because they leave a really nice impression. And some more of the complements, pulling out some more of the florals to try and work out a sensible spot to stick this down. And I'm going to use some liquid glass for this. It dries clear, but it does help stick down plastics and acrylics. I was having a bit of trouble choosing where to place this, in the sense that it does stand out quite a bit, and I don't want it to be the dominant feature. I want it to connect and add to the page, not become a key thing to look at on the page. So I'm just putting on the back of it, you can't see it slightly off screen, the liquid glass, and just pressing that down to let that dry in place. It does take a little bit of time, but the effect at the end's worth it. So I'm going to add some of our sequences in here. Sequins, the self-adhesive sequins, and so I'm just positioning these inside flowers, around flowers, and different things like that to just add a little bit of depth to my embellishments. And these are really nice because they're subtle, they don't take over, and because I've used the greeny colour that's similar to my paper that's part of this kit, it seems to just connect nicely, and when you look at the page in real life, it just adds a dimension that's quite lovely. So I use the slightly darker colour for in the centre of the bigger flowers, the bolder flowers. And then it's time to add some journaling, and I didn't leave a lot of room for the journaling on this page. There are plenty of other spots I could add some words and ideas if I wanted to, but I just thought it was quite cute using this little journaling dot from the compliments pack to add my journaling and add my information about this event or the message that I'm trying to share with these young people. And so you can see I did run out a little bit of room, so I've added the date sort of in a curve around the sticker. So just taking stock of the page, having a look, is it visually pleasing? Is there something else I need to add? And I decided that I needed the title to have a little bit more interest to it. So I'm using our clear shimmer brush here to go over the Compliments Explore sticker, just to give it that little bit of added interest or standout effect. You won't be able to see it very well in the video. It's something that you see better when you're flicking through the album or looking at the pages. And there we go, done.